Hey Space Sailors, welcome to the crew. I'm Sailor Agenda, and this is my Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. We are investigating the mysterious event known as the Flux, and trying to fix up the refugee flotilla now, as their situation is kind of on the brink, it seems. Feed the cat. Okay, kind of a terrible series of rolls today, but buy some fungus. Hack this. This node is in two places at once. It's there each time you turn. Okay, that's all the data. Let's go ahead and hand that in. I feel like this is the main quest line and I should really be helping out more, but we're gonna get to it. Extract flux nodes in the low-end hub and shipyard. They want the data extracted from all three. Okay. Oh, Peak loads the data into the decoding setup. That'll be just a moment. Don't leave, Sleeper. You watch as Peak works on the flux data. The nodes unfolding like flowers now, giving in to Peak's increasingly sophisticated decoding protocols. Seeing data like this as an image on a screen is an almost unrecognizable representation to you. It's nothing like swimming among nodes and threads. Despite this, Peak has proven themselves to be more than able to handle these complex data structures, even through this limited representational paradigm. The bay door hisses, interrupting your flow of thoughts. You turn to see Ash entering. What's up, Ash? She looks up and meets your eye, but doesn't respond. Ash stalks into the bay, head down. She looks tired and not in the mood to talk. How's the weapon hunt? Peak asks, without turning from the screen. Slow. Not successful. Tedious. Ash slams a bag down on a crate and hops up to sit on it. You still on picking balls of yarn? With the Sleeper's help, Peak smiles. They brought me some good stuff this cycle. Maybe they could help you find the weapons you were smuggling? It's clear that Ash doesn't appreciate Peak's tone. I'm stay quiet on this one. Peak holds up a hand. Shh! They lean in towards the screen. Son of a... Oh no. They hit it in the wake of the wave. Peak's whispering to themselves. It's alive. They lean back in the chair. Ash crosses over to look at the screen. Alive? Ash, you can't make everything be dead. No. Well, it's growing. It's processing. It's quietly working away in the dark. Look. You cross over to the screen and stand beside Ash. In it, you can see the Peak has all four nodes decoded, and the pattern of shadows from inside them sit on the screen like dark stains. Then you notice it, the movement. The thin threads cross from one stain to another. As you watch, you notice that the movement only ever happens in your peripheral vision, as if this shadow, knows it's being watched. This is how the other fluxed nodes appeared. Peak rubs their eyes. They weren't fluxed by the wave, they were corrupted after the fact. This shadow that entered in the wake of the wave, it corrupted them. But it made the corruption look like the result of the flux. It's a sleight of hand. Peak runs a hand through their hair. The flux wave is so massive, so complex that it opens up the systems to be attacked. As it reconfigures exposed systems, this shadow is broadcast implanted inside. The wave from the CAN channel, it's a brute force way of hitting every system in Helion. Once the systems are vulnerable, Peak looks pale, their eyes reflect the screens. The flux isn't what's attacking the systems. It's the siege weapon. A Trojan horse, then this thing takes over. Peak sits back in the chair. And it's already on the eye. Wait. Ash rubs her forehead. You're telling me there's a CAN channel in this system? Shit, Peak isn't listening. This is bad. We have to take this to someone. Peak looks desperately at you. I respect Soul. But in all honesty, Helene has more power here, realistically. Why is this even a choice? We should tell both of them. The only rational thing to do is to tell both of them, in all truth. They both need to know. Tell Soul first. Right? The refugees need to know. Ash cuts in. Maybe they can protect themselves against it. They need an evacuation. An evacuation? Are you insane, Ash? Peek's desperate. Havenage are the station administrators. They need to know. The argument rages between them, and as you watch them shouting, you feel sick. After a while, they stop, running out of things to say. An unsettling silence descends on the bay. I need more time, Peek says quietly. I need to look at solutions, try to build a case, collate the evidence. We mess this up. They look down at their hands. Ash goes to speak and then thinks better of it. Not a word, Sleeper, Peek meets your eye. Don't tell anyone until they're ready. They sigh. With the tension among the refugees, Sol won't be ready to hear this, and Helene and Havenage are still mired in some kind of crisis. If we tell Havenage, they're likely to react badly, and if we tell Sol, I doubt he'll take it well either. So if you can calm the situation in the flotilla, then we can choose. You're too twisted up in this, Peek, Ash says quietly. This is not our place. We don't owe. Stop, Ash. Peek slumps in their chair. Stop. You leave them like that, exhausted and troubled, and head back out into the Pilgrim Seed. When you close your eyes, you think of those shadows, that movement at the edge of your vision. Something dark, growing in the station like a parasite. You feel sick. Your vision blurs. What comes next? You stop in a corridor and take a breath, putting a hand on a rumbling metal wall. For now, the eye keeps spinning. For now. Helene really has to know, doesn't she? Like, first of all, I actually don't distrust her that much, but she has to know. She has much more control over what happens on the eye than any of these guys do. Hold on, I can probably solve this by just giving more Matsutake caps. Yeah, I've just sort of brute forced this through sheer amounts of food. The Pilgrim Seed is managing, and Sol feels your time would be better spent on the other flotilla ships. Fantastic. There should be one, no? Sol finds you deep in the layers of the Pilgrim Seed, working on a patch for a life support vent. You hear him coming, his suit hissing as he does. I had to ask around to find you, he smiles. Seems you know the place better than me these days. I doubt it, Sol. Sol nods. I was on the work crew that built this thing, so maybe you're right. He winks. Sol holds out a hand. Stand up and let me see you. He pulls you to your feet. I don't believe we ever had a sleeper on Ember's hearth. Sol looks you up and down. You sure do make me wish we had. Could have done with a few workers as good as you. Well, thank you. Sol nods. You're welcome. Seems I owe you some answers, seeing you've been working hard on the Pilgrim Seed these past cycles. He leans against a crate, his suit creaking. What do you want to know about? Well, the flux, firstly. Sol sighed. That's what I imagined. He scratches at his beard. I can't say I'm an expert, but I can tell you what we witnessed on Hearth. At first we ignored it. Few farms had their automation systems blink out, lifter suits locked up, bots reset their schedules, nothing we hadn't seen before. But then the news came out of Paso Row that they'd been hit harder. The local network had gone down and no one could get it back up. It was rough for a while, but out in the farmland we were used to that. Paso Row, capital of Hearth. Tens of thousands of souls made it their home. Sol grimaces. Anyway, we thought the flux was a freak event until the day they got the network running again. That's when the cascade happened. System after system corrupted, data lost, and then another flux hit, and another. The bots were running circles in the fields, people had to be cut out of lifter suits like mine, and the city. I never saw it, but I heard from the others. Sol shivers. It only got worse from there. We couldn't seem to fight it. It cut us right open. That's what I knew about the flux. Some folks say it came from the inner system, that it might be connected to some old tech there or something, but I never heard anything more than rumors. No, we pretty much know that already. Sol scratches their beard. Sorry, I don't have better news. Sol shifts in the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? Sure. Tell me about Ember's Hearth. Sure. He smiles. I mean, I spent my whole life on that rock, so I have plenty to tell. I'll save my life story for another time, he winks, but the short of it is that Hearth is the first of Ember's moons, the biggest and the most populated, which is down to the successful terraforming system Sybil set up back when Solheim owned the system. Terraforming? That's right. Ember's step was the first try, but that failed. Hearth was when they perfected their system. However, Sol holds up a hand, despite what people might say, Hearth was never fully stable. Sol shakes his head. Sybil liked to talk it up, but after they pulled out and Solheim left, our people discovered they'd have to keep the systems running themselves, or the place would soon end up as dry as steppe. Hearth was good as long as the evaporators kept running, kept filling our skies with clouds. Even after the collapse, our people kept those things going, turning that subsurface ocean into a periwinkle blue sky. Sol smiles. Flux ended that, though, and when they failed, the rains failed, and the harvest with it. Sol pauses. And soon you have a city without a way to feed itself. Sol shudders. That's when we, some of us, made the decision to set out on this place, he gestures to the Pilgrim Seed, and look for another future. Sol shifts something. Okay. Tell me about you. Soul squints at you. You want to know about me? I'm not sure that was part of the deal I was thinking of, Sleeper. Unless you're asking about this, he raps in the middle of his suit. In case you haven't guessed, this is the only thing keeping me vertical. He adjusts a shoulder piece. It's a lifter suit made for work in the fields. We had to modify it so I could walk around after the accident. And that's all I'm saying. Sleeper, because to be honest with you, I don't know you more than that. You want to know about the flux, about Ember's hearth? Go ahead. But don't pry into my life, and I won't pry into yours. That's fine, Soul. I didn't mean to pry. Soul let the silence sit, staring hard at the floor. The suit seems to loom over him, looking more like a burden than a sport. With the bars around his head, you suddenly start to think of it as a cage. Look, I don't mean to be rude. Let's leave it there. There's too many eyes on me on this ship as it is, and I'd rather just slip into the background, thank you very much. Soul shifts in the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? No, I'm good. You sure? Soul smiles. Yeah, I'm sure. Soul stands, flexing against the suit. He takes his cane in his hand. Keep it up, Sleeper. He smiles as he leaves. You're making me think I need to start making new plans for this place. If that's Soul Neebs, and you wonder what he means. As he creaks away down the corridor, you can't help but feel there's more to him than it seems. I don't necessarily trust him more than I trust Celine, honestly. Not by much, anyway. That is only marginally better. Oh well. Good rolls, though. Okay, the last two... This isn't any easier, is it? No. Could anything go wrong, really, though? Seems like worst case, I maybe just lose energy or something. Didn't happen. You work through the supplies, crate by crate. People mill through the structure, but none of them offer to help. Okay. Let's go have a rest. Eat the cat. Oh man, that's not a great series of rolls. I'm gonna have to pretty much re-roll immediately. Oh well. You look at some of the shutter control systems fried by the flux event. It's slow progress, but the crew will notice the fix. That's better. That's a decent chance of... And all that happens is I lose energy, right? Take a risk. And it worked. I see you've been contributing. Aki stands next to you at the dust house window. I was unsure what to expect when we joined the flotilla on its voyage to the Eye, but after the journey across the system, then the quarantine, and then the flux reaching all the way out here too... Aki stops herself. Thank you. She bows a little. The other ships have only been interested in sending us supplies, but we grow all we need. She gestures at the dust house. What the dust houses need, that is the problem that concerns us. She smiles and turns to you. Shall we go inside? Oh, I'd love to. Aki smiles. Come. She taps away at a panel by the window. Seems only fair that after you help with the support systems, you get to see what it is that you're maintaining. Aki leads you into an opening beside the window. You pass through a dark changing room. You notice Aki is sliding on an oxygen mask and visor. She looks at the swirling dust inside. Inside, it's just like Ember's step. Thin atmosphere, constant dust storms, nothing that will bother you. She passes you a mask. The dust isn't exactly pleasant to inhale, however, so take this. You hold it to your face. She leads you through a short decontamination tunnel with its fizzing panels of purifying light, and then through into the dust house. Immediately, the wind and the heat hits you. You feel the rough waves of dust scattering across your face and peer through the amber murk. Your feet slide on shifting piles of sand. Welcome to Step, or an emulation of it at least. Aki's voice sounds distant, echoey. The terraforming process only managed to provide a limited atmosphere around the moon, one which is slowly escaping. It's been like that since I was born, so I got used to the idea. You catch her bright eyes through the amber dust. So did everything else that lives there. You feel something hard beneath your feet, beneath the sand, like a coil of rope. You instinctively look down and see something pale and twisted poking out of the sand. Aki sees you looking. This is step silk. It's one of the plants we established on step. She kicks away some red sand. Like any bast fiber, it can be retted, and woven into clothes. I'm wearing some made from it myself. What is retted? Soaked in water, flax and hemp, to soften and separate the fibers. Huh. Don't believe I ever heard that before. Okay. It's one of many species adapted to steppe since the Solheim collapse, which is why it must be preserved. She stares out into the swirling dust. It is as much a refugee as we are, and the dust houses hold hundreds of other species. You look at the pale, unassuming root threaded thickly through the sand. Aki watches you silently. Had enough? It'll be easier to speak outside. Aki leads you back through the decontamination tunnel, which blasts the dust from both of you with a burst of metallic-tasting air, and into the changing room. Aki hangs up both the masks, patiently awaiting your questions. What happened on Ember Step? Aki pauses, pulling her shawl around you. She looks small and pale inside its layers. Step was already a doomed world, she sniffs. When Solheim gave the terraforming contract to Sybil, they believed they could build an atmosphere, but the moon's erratic orbit made it impossible to maintain. By the time of the Solheim collapse, the atmosphere was already fading, and Sybil's attention was on Ember's hearth. After the collapse, Sybil fell too, its researchers scattered across the moons, and any central organization lost. Since then, my parents' generation worked tirelessly to survive, to adapt what we had to the failing moon. The steppe silk, the other adapted species, are the life's work of the steppes colonies. So when the flux started to collapse our computer systems, corrode and destroy our life support, our water supply, our agriculture, we had to leave. Aki sits heavily on a nearby bench. Soon the only traces of steppe will be on this ship. Aki begins to cry quietly. You're unsure what to do. You sit on the bench beside her as she sobs. You understand why this ship, why the refugees from steppe are so different. Their world was already dying when the flux arrived. Ember Steppe is a terraformed moon, a partial atmosphere, established colonies, agriculture, and yet when the flux event started, its people had to leave. You think of the eye and the delicate web of decaying systems it rests upon. What hope does a ruined station have against a wave that corrupts, corrodes, and collapses? Aki interrupts her thoughts, rubbing her eyes. Not everyone left. There wasn't room to take all the people and fill the dust houses. My parents, their friends, and many others stayed. She sniffs. We carry the steppe for them. Maybe there's hope. We learned not to talk of hope on a dying world. There's meaning for them and any future they can build with the time they have. She stands up. I wanted you to understand the importance of these dust houses, of what they contain. She leads you back out into the corridor. If the flux events continue to reach out to the eye, we need to build protections to ensure their safety. Aki meets your eye. What about the people? Aki looks away. We aren't idiots, Sleeper. We chose to carry this burden. We will survive. These dust houses are already decaying. I've seen it. She stares into the dust. We thought they would last longer, but that last flux event... Help us. Aki looks at you. Please. I will. When you're ready, we'll begin the preparations for reinforcing the dust houses. We need to be ready for the next flux event. Aki's eyes shine with the last of her tears. She takes a breath. I will see you soon. Aki drifts away down the corridor, leaving you alone once more at the viewing window, watching the ragged, delicate traces of the moon known as Ember Steppe. Well, that's bleak. Okay. So the dust houses to preserve their closed biomes, they will need shielding against the flux and protecting from their slow decay. Steppe silk care. Improving the dust houses and the only way to sustain the steppe silk. With intuitive care, the plant could be made more resistant. Or, well, we're better at engineering. Aki's devised upgrades that will protect the dust houses from both flux and their slow decay. She needs you to implement them. We have a bit of time to do that, or we have infinite time, theoretically. I'm going to help these guys out a little. And why is that red? It's not usually red. Whatever. I'm going to slowly help them both out, I guess. Active scene. Was that ready? Oh no, wait. Oh no, the bar. Tala comes to you one shift when the bar is empty, tapping you on the shoulder as you clean the bar. It's ready. She's grinning from ear to ear. Girl? Obviously. She grabs you by the arm before you can ask anything else and drags you into the back room. The smell hits you immediately when you enter, a cocktail of rich fermentation and chemical sharpness. The room is warm and bright now, the newly installed lights making the place look clean whether it is or not. Tal's already pulled up a couple of stools around a metal crate where 2 glasses with a few fingers of pale girol inside sit waiting. She smiles. I haven't even tried it yet. You can see she's nervous. You both sit at the makeshift table, the slight strangeness of the situation making you both jumpy. Tala hands you a glass. Cheers, she says solemnly and knocks the glass back. You do the same. The first sensation is burning, a sharp, nose-clearing blast of alcohol that has your frame querying whether you would like to activate safe mode. You gulp the drink back, and it's only then, behind the burn, that you taste the earthy tones of the mushrooms, the wood and the soil left behind like sediment. Barely there. It's a little strong, Tala. Tala nods vigorously. Whew, that was heavy. Well, maybe it has promise. You think? She swirls the glass and puts it down. Wait, I have an idea. Tala grabs a metal bottle from the newly installed work surface and adds a few drops of water into the girol. Try again. This time the burn is a warming glow, harsh but fading off, and the woodiness less heavy. You test something floral in among the marshy decay, something fresh and bright that you never expected to find. Both you and Tala meet eyes. It's really good, right? It is. Tala grins with her whole face, and that makes you smile, too. Tala pours out some more girol and then adds some more water. The action's already taking on the quality of a ritual. You both drink. Tala tucks her feet up beneath her on the stool, folding her legs. She looks down into her glass and swirls the liquid thoughtfully. What's on your mind? Tala looks up at nothing in particular. My father opened this place, you know, she says out of nowhere, thoughts suddenly becoming words. It was his attempt at making a life for us, for my family, when we got to the Eye. You were refugees? From Sinza, yeah. It's one of Ember's lesser moons. She takes a drink. I don't remember much. I was only tiny when we came. I was just thinking about something my father told me. When he first set this place up, he wanted to call it the Bantayan, but he was afraid it'd scare off the customers, so he kind of translated it. Hence the Overlook. These past few cycles, when I've been in here, I've been thinking I should rename the place. She looks at you. The Bantayan. What do you think? What does it mean? Dad said he translated it to Overlook, so something like that. Watchtower, maybe? Lookout? Tala picks up her glass. That settles it, then. To the Bantayan. I didn't actually express an opinion on it, but I think it's good. You both clink your glasses and drink up. Tala hisses through her teeth. Still harsh. She laughs, then suddenly grabs your shoulder. Oh, sleeper, I totally forgot. She stumbles to her feet. She lurches over to a corner of the room covered with a plastic sheet and whips it off like a magician performing a trick. Beneath it is a neat little kitchen, a sink, a work surface, and a compact oven with a hob. Your kitchen! She doesn't give you time to respond. You can come make stuff here any time as long as you promise not to raid the mushroom farm. I need those with girol. I was thinking, too, that if things pick up, we can start serving proper food at the the Bantayan. She laughs. Do you like it? It's perfect. Tala gives you a hug, then quickly stands back. I'm sorry. I'm so glad you're here. She grins. Me too. As Tala tidies away the glasses, you inspect the kitchen, checking that it all works. It's small and salvaged, but after what you've had to put up with, it feels like a dream come true. Later, when she's done for the day, Tala comes back through to the bar, and you share a glass of the good girol, the one she didn't distill. Oh, God. And this time you talk about nothing in particular, sharing stories about regulars or discussing the best place to eat on the Eye, which after everything that's happened feels like a nice change of pace. When it comes time to leave, you promise to cook for Tala and agree to let her know which shift she'll be working in the coming cycles, and then slip out into the cool of the rotunda. And in this moment, you feel for once at home. Probably another thing we could have completed a long time ago. Free spirit, help a friend distill your future. Well, I can cook girol caps for myself now, or matsutake caps, so I've been actually used for them other than just, handing them to the refugees or trying to sell them. Alright, well, sleep. That was a nice heartwarming little quest, though. I don't know what's about to happen with Lemon Mina. I am pretty much gonna find a way to back out. If I'm halfway through the cutscene and it seems like there's no way to back out, I'm gonna have to, like, force reload or something. But I'm pretty sure but there's probably a way to back out still. Okay, let's work on all this stuff then. Yes, sir. And I don't know what the deal over here is, but... what the hell kind of rolls are those? Okay. Well, reroll was worse than when we started, so... I guess we'll just do some hacking or something. Funny thing is, I'm pretty much allied with Yet Again now, so it doesn't entirely make sense that I'm hacking them all the time, but whatever. Rest. Thanks for watching, Space Sailors. Hope you enjoyed. New episodes will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like or subscribing, and have a nice day, Space Sailors. This is Sea Lord Agenda, signing off.